flatter by Friday.
The plan to shrink your stomach in just 1 week.
Slim down without sacrifice.
Let's talk about exactly what you're gonna eat to get flat by next Friday.
Plus, time for a checkup.
No lines, no waiting rooms, and no being put on hold.
Fast fixes to get your health back on track.
The answers you need right now to your biggest health questions of all time.
Coming up next on Oz.
We'll save lives today.
You guys ready to get healthy? It is Friday, and welcome. The goal of today's show is to give you 1 week to help you get closer to your health goals. Now, we're going to start with the tips and tricks you need to shrink your stomach. What you can do today to be flatter by Friday. Next Friday, that is. You know what? It's a lot easier than you think. I'm going to tell you what you can do this week to catch up on lost sleep as well. And answers to all of your other big health questions. In fact, the biggest questions of all time. That's later in the show. And it may be the most surprising key to finding balance that you're going to hear all year. And you know what? Not only is it easy, it's free. But let's get started with how you can get a flatter stomach by Friday. That's right, the plan to shrink your stomach in just 1 week. So here's the scenario, right? It's Friday, right? And you've got a big event next Friday. So you got 1 week. And you want to fit into this beautiful outfit. It's perfect for you. But you procrastinated on your plans to slim down. And now you're just 1 week away from that event. Can you all relate to that? Yeah. You've all been there. You're so close what you want, but you just can't quite get it because it's too late, you think. Well, today, the easy plan to get flatter by Friday. So you can show up in that outfit. And who better to get you started than the man who knows extreme weight loss better than anyone? My good friend and core team expert, Chris Powell. How are you? Good. Good to see you. How you guys doing? Hey. They didn't notice you. They didn't see me coming.
Behind, he's like a little cat. He came up from behind.
Oh, I love those surprises, you know.
So how realistic is it to be flattered by next Friday?
Well, it's extremely realistic. I mean, especially with the folks that we work with, we can see anywhere upwards of 5 to 15 pounds drop in just 1 week.
And
it's phenomenal.
What allows that to happen? How do you sort of shrink your stomach, so to speak?
Well, there's a few things going on. Now, of course, when we clean things up, there's a little bit of fat loss, but we're looking at a lot of water loss. And with that, there's a couple things that are happening here. Now, typically, when we start to make these changes, we're reducing the amount of processed carbohydrates in the body. Now, it's really interesting because our muscles, they're like fuel tanks for carbohydrates. And when those carbs are stored in our body as glycogen. Now, glycogen holds water onto it like a magnet. So when we reduce that glycogen, our body starts to utilize the glycogen that's stored in those muscles, right? Yep. And so as it burns that glycogen, the glycogen releases the water, so we see that big water drop. Also on top of that, we start reducing our sodium intake and all that other stuff that's holding that water subcutaneous, giving it like that thick, bloated feel.
Let's explain this, everyone, because I want you to really appreciate what we're talking about. So we're going to get to the difference between fat, water, and bloat. Take a look.
Think of your body like a house, and the different forms of weight, fat, bloat, and water weight, as friends and family who want to stay over as house guests. First up, water weight. Water weight is that friend that's always crashing on your couch for the night. Sure, she's annoying, but at least she's up and gone the next day. Out of sight, out of mind. Then there's bloat, your old pal that shows up at the door unannounced and out of the blue. One time is fine, but when she comes back again and again and again, it's a problem. Finally, there's fat, your worst case scenario. Fat is your mother-in-law showing up, suitcases in hand, ready to take over your house for 6 months. So how do you lock the door and make sure you have the house to yourself for good? Let's find out.
But Chris says if you start his plan today, you'll be flatter by next Friday, and you'll easily fit into that dress we were talking about earlier. So the first step in his plan is to do elimination. So what are the foods you're going to eliminate?
So we're going to be wanting to eliminate most processed carbohydrates, sugars and starches, all that other
junk food. We definitely want to get rid of alcohol, just for a week. Yeah. I know. Yeah. And we also want to be getting rid of artificial sweeteners, which is definitely a no-no. So, those are the big ones. So sugar, alcohol, artificial sweeteners, and those other processed starches.
Let's show everyone why this is so important. By eliminating these foods, you're going to eliminate a lot of fluid in your body. Now, Chris was explaining earlier, you'll understand now that we hold on to water with some of the things we eat and we let go of it with others. So if you have a donut like this, right, and just a little bitty donut, you'll store about a quarter cup, this much water in your body. It's trapped in your body, it can't get out. And this water can be easily urinated out, so to speak. Think about this as a toilet, okay? It goes right out there. Now, multiply that in your body with all the foods that you've eaten, right? And Chris, you take a couple of these, the donut we just had. Here's soft drinks. Donut. Right? Here's my soft drink. I'm not going to have that. All that water I get to lose.
You got some candy here.
Not just one, but 2 slices of pizza here. Get rid of those, right? And it goes on and on. Processed foods, chips, all this water is the water your body wants to get rid of, and will happily do so if you can just get rid of some of these processed foods and take them out of your body. Just cart them away. All this is lost weight, which will make you feel a little less tugged around your skin. Again, it's not your long-term solution to weight loss.
Correct.
But short-term, it will put you in a different place emotionally. It turns out that all these foods that Chris was squeezing water out happen to also be good things to eliminate if you want to lose fat weight. So it's a great way. So you'll lose fat weight because you're eating the right foods, and you lose water weight short-term because you're eating the right foods. You get a double whammy for this. Let's talk about exactly what you're going to eat to get flat by next Friday. The first thing, for breakfast, we want you to have a little bit of protein, you know that, and a little bit of fat with it. So we're going to give you an egg and an avocado. So why this combo?
Well, I mean, especially with the protein and the fat, those are a 1-2 punch. And we also, with this breakfast, we also included a little bit of carbohydrate. I know we were talking about eliminating some of those carbohydrates, but we're talking about real, whole, natural carbohydrates, like a corn tortilla, to curb those cravings for those processed carbs that we're eliminating.
Are you a good chef?
I'm so. I must say, I definitely cook most of the food in the family.
You do?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Because I thought Heidi said she was cooking all the food.
Oh, no, that's not true. That is not true.
I can't cook. So I wanted to find out who can best make the perfect breakfast combo. So I asked one of you, a member of the audience, Roberta, to join us, who's apparently pretty good at this. How are you?
How are you? Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Likewise. Free reign to pick any food that would satisfy Chris's criteria, and you did pick this avocado egg. Where'd you get the idea from?
Well, I have 2 kids. I found it on Pinterest. Pinterest, of course, is like...
Is it the best?
It's the best thing ever, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take an avocado, you're going to slice it in half. Of course, you're going to remove the pit. Now, what you're going to do is you're just going to remove about a tablespoon or so from the middle. Put this on the side. While this is baking, you can enjoy that as a snack, right? And you're going to take an egg, like a small egg, a medium egg or so. We're going to place it right there. You're going to put this in the oven at 425 for about 20 minutes or so.
You know, I usually crack the eggs on the show.
Yep, you can. Now this is where you.
I'm kidding you. The thing I take the greatest pride in. You took it from me.
I just took it from you. I'm sorry. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to stand it on the side. Now what you can do is you can slice the bottom of this so it can stay put. Then you're going to season it, of course, with salt and pepper.
Show that to them. That's an important point. So you're saying that, get rid of the pit here.
Yep.
And take a little bit of this bottom.
Yep. Just
like
a little
that?
bit. Yep. Perfect. Now watch. See, perfectly stand.
It's brilliant.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never done that.
Because if not, you're struggling with trying to make it, stand
what a great idea.
And you're enjoying that. Now look at you. You're going to try to do this now.
Not looking.
Look at you.
Wait. Hold your applause for later.
And then we're going to season, salt and pepper and a little bit of cayenne. Of course, cayenne, right? Good.
Yep.
And then you're going to top it.
Cayenne's good because it's got the spices, which actually reduces your appetite at the next meal, in addition to sort of speeding up your metabolism.
Yeah. Put it in the oven at 425, like I said, 20 minutes, and there you have it.
And these are whole wheat tortillas, you said?
There's a whole grain. A lot of times people see corn tortillas and they think it's totally processed. No, that's actually a whole grain right there. They just simply take the corn and they mash it and they bake it, which is awesome.
Bertha, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yep, thank you.
All right, let's talk about lunch. Lunch, you're going to notice, has a few carbs, but this is important. There's a carb curfew after lunch. So these are the last carbs you're going to have. Explain the carb curfew concept.
So after a while, we do want to pull those carbohydrates, especially for the last 1 or 2 meals of the day. for a lot of the same reasons that we were talking about earlier, especially with the carbs that are stored in our body. We want to utilize those so that we're going to release all that water. But on top of that, I'm going to give you guys some really cool tips of the trade here, is that we definitely want to reduce carbohydrates coming into night so that we can, when we sleep, that's when our body releases human growth hormone. And when our insulin goes up at night with carbohydrate intake, it blunts our body's ability to release human growth hormone, which is one of the most lipolytic hormones in the human body.
Are you kidding?
You know this stuff.
No, I didn't actually. I knew the growth hormone was increased. I didn't realize that having carbs later in the evening would blunt that.
Yeah,
and the growth hormone is what makes you feel vital, or what makes you look young.
And it burns a lot of body fat. So, we got a wonderful lunch here. We do have our sweet potatoes, which is a wonderful whole carbohydrate from a root vegetable. But then after that, we eliminate it. Now, in this lunch, I also put a little secret vegetable in here, and you're going to see some asparagus in here. Asparagus is a powerful natural diuretic. There's an amino acid in there that, and that sure enough, it actually triggers our body to release even more water. So the more asparagus that you can eat during this flat belly week, I'm telling you, your body's going to thank you for it.
They're going to get asparagus toxic.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the last step is to build a cleansed salad for dinner. How does a cleansed salad differ from the usual salads we serve ourselves?
Oh, more than anything, it's going to be fun, it's flavorful, it's colorful, and there's no carbohydrates in these cleansed salads.
Because it's got a curfew for carbs. Okay,
absolutely.
So you pick a base, right? They say it's cucumbers.
Then we want to add a little bit of color.
So add a color. See, we have beets here.
Yep.
Make some beets. I love beets.
Then we're going to throw in a crunch.
All right, little crunch here. What do you want for crunch? How about some celery?
Perfect. That's
right.
always nice and crunchy. Now we're going to throw in some protein. Very necessary building block for muscle for the human body. Then we're going to add our fats for a little bit of flavoring, also to really help curb cravings for those carbohydrates.
And walnuts. There we are. All right, so that's got everything you want. And when you're done, it looks like this, which is a lot of food for dinner. And I think this makes a very elegant, simple way. Do you guys think you could do this for 7 days? Be flattered by Friday? I think they liked it. All right.
Yep.
Listen, one thing missing are the snacks to shrink your stomach. When we come back, we're going to introduce a new concept, liquid snacks that you can drink all day long to be flatter by Friday. Stay with us.
Can you hear me say
Coming up next, Chris shows us the best way to snack.
They're going to keep you full between the big meals.
Whether you love chocolate, salt, caffeine, or sweet.
We can just make them absolutely delicious.
He's got recipes to satisfy all those cravings. And shrink your stomach too. Coming up next.
Why can your friend eat junk food and not gain weight, but you eat a jelly bean and gain a pound?
It's not your fault.
Your gut may be to blame.
Dr. Axe says everyone has one of 5 gut types.
See which one you are and the 3 simple ways to fix it so you can lose weight. Plus, Russell Simmons is in the house.
He's here to reveal his #1 secret to living 10 years longer.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
Today, Chris Powell is here with his 1-week plan to shrink your stomach and be flatter by Friday. Next, we're going to introduce a brand new concept, liquid snacks. So why are you so high on these liquids?
They're going to keep you full between the big meals, which we know that can be a really dangerous time for a lot of people when you start reaching into the bags for all the stuff that, the sweet and salty and chocolatey things that you shouldn't be eating. There's a solution for that, and that's with these liquid snacks.
So we get to customize them today. So before the show, I asked everyone in the audience to put themselves in one of 4 snack categories. They are the chocolatey people. These are cake and cookie folks. They're the sweet candy people. There's the salty love, there's the chips and the nuts, and then there are the folks who really like caffeine and coffee drinks. So what categories did you put yourself in? What did you like?
A and B.
You would?
The chocolate.
You're a chocolate person.
The fruity.
Chocolate, fruity, candies.
The candies, yes.
You call candy fruit, you can get away with it some places, but...
Caffeine.
Yeah. You're laughing at her, why is that? What'd you pick?
I said chocolate.
Chocolate. But you liked your candy fruit confusion? That was pretty good, wasn't it? Very clever. All right, so here's how you all broke down. You ready for your answers? #1 was chocolate. 39% of you said that chocolate was your favorite flavor. 32% said salty. 21% said caffeine. And 16% said sweet. So how's it possible to take these clues about what snacks people like and actually convert them into a liquid?
Well, with shakes, that's the best way to do it. Like you can take all these different flavorings and we can get totally creative with them, which we're actually about to show you. And we can create chocolatey, we can create salty, we can create the different sweets, and we can create even different caffeine combinations because yes, you can have some caffeine on this plan as well. And we get creative with them and we can just make them absolutely delicious.
So we have 4 audience members to help us with this. They're going to represent each of the 4 groups. They have assured me they actually like each of the flavors we made for them. Shayna's here representing the chocolate snack group. You are the highly rated group.
Yes.
What is it about chocolate that makes it kryptonite for you?
It's just delicious, and you can have it in moderation because it can be healthy. And I feel like I can have it anywhere. I can have it at home, I can have it at my job, I can have it in my car, and I always need that little bit of chocolate every day.
I love that chocolate when it melts in your mouth. So, Chris, the liquid equivalent, the liquid chocolate snack, what is it?
Check this out. We've got a chocolate shake here. This is absolutely delicious. But look at all the nutrients that we've packed into this. We've got Greek yogurt for the protein. We've got some cocoa powder, which is amazing with antioxidants. Avocado to make it crazy smooth, so you get that creamy kind of flavor. We've got rolled oats that we've blended into it, some almond milk, and a little bit of honey to taste.
Let's let the expert tell us. Shayna, what do you think?
This is delicious. I mean, I didn't really think of adding avocado to a shake.
Yeah, but it makes it creamy.
Gives it the creamy texture.
Nicely done, Chris Powell. All right, keep enjoying it. Next, we've got Adria here. She's from our sweet snack group.
Yes.
Now, that young lady over there compared sweets to fruits, which is, I guess,
Yeah.
a thoughtful way of comparing them.
Fruity, tangy taste. Yeah, I crave that. I love the candy jar, Skittles, Swedish Fish, anything gummy, chewy. I have little kids, so I tend to go to their Halloween bag.
Oh my goodness.
Their goodie bags.
Yep.
Anything that's chewy and tangy.
So, Chris, we need an intervention. What's a
Yeah,
liquid
intervention.
alternative?
Hey, I get it. We've got 4 kids at home and they like sweet stuff too. So don't let the green color throw you off
Yeah.
because this sucker is sweet and it is delicious because the pineapple is so overwhelming with the banana. That's exactly what it tastes like. But what we've done is we've blended a bunch of spinach in there for those phytonutrients and chia seeds for the fiber and the omega-3s. Right?
It's actually really, you don't taste the
No,
greens at all.
It tastes like banana and
Yeah.
pineapple, but now you're getting it's
Very fruity.
It's like drinking a multivitamin.
It's very good.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
I love looking in your eyes. Right?
I was surprised. Yeah,
That
I
was
thought I was
genuine
going to
excitement.
taste lettuce,
That was-
but yeah, it's really good.
That's
Keep
fantastic.
enjoying it.
Thank you.
Next, a very popular group was the salty group. Tracy's here representing you. You like those salty tastes?
Oh, I'm a snackaholic. My go-to is salty snacks. So yes.
A lot of folks go for it for good reasons, but making it into a liquid could be precarious. What do you have?
Absolutely, and you're not alone. I'm a salty guy myself, and I heard you are too.
Yes.
So,
Well, I like salt and chocolate. If I could mix those 2 shakes together, which we'll do after the segment, I would do that.
heaven.
yeah, salt and sweet, you can't go wrong with the combination. So with this one, we've got a little bit of the 2, salt and the sweetness. We've got salted pistachios, we've got some Greek yogurt, some almond milk, banana, and once again, we've blended in that spinach for all those phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals, and it is fantastic.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
See?
I never had pistachios in a smoothie before.
Yeah, I think pistachios is a good idea. It's exotic enough, but it has that salty element to it because you usually do eat the pistachios. They're a bit salty. I'm glad you like the 2.
Oh, I
And
love
that
it.
hint of salt and sweet
Yes.
together, it is just
It's a perfect combination.
Now,
perfect.
Marissa, she represents the coffee lovers.
Caffeine.
That's it.
Have you had some caffeine yet this morning? I can tell.
Yes, she's barely. I'll hold her down. So this is our liquid version of a caffeine beverage that's really good for you. And listen, I know a lot of you get up in the morning, you want your caffeine. I get it. In fact, all these flavors are just fine to have because we made healthy versions for you, but this may be the winner of them all. So you give it a taste. And Chris, walk us through how you did it.
So you and my wife are 2 peas in a pod. She loves her caffeine as well. So we've got an iced protein latte here. Once again, we get some almond milk. We've got a little bit of coffee, which we've actually found is really good for you. Coffee is also a natural diuretic, so it's going to help you flush even more of that fluid. We've got some vanilla whey protein powder and a little bit of banana. And it makes for an incredible combination, especially when you blend it up with ice. It almost makes you like a little frappuccino.
Could this replace your usual coffee habit?
Sure can.
You can.
It sure can.
With great joy and gusto.
Yes.
All right, I put the Flatter by Friday plan on DrOz.com. Download the one sheet, share it with your friends, and be sure to check out Chris's new book. It is fabulous. It's called Extreme Transformation. That's what will happen if you read it. See the stores now. Chris is second round. When we come back, he's going to help us answer the biggest health questions of 2015. Stay here.
Want more ideas to hack your way to a flatter belly? Check out April's edition of The Good Life magazine. For what to eat, what to drink, and a secret that can even flatten your belly while you sit in traffic. It's your own flat belly guide. Next, no line, no waiting room, no being put on hold. We have the fastest fixes to get your health back on track. What you need to know right now from my panel of experts. The biggest questions of all time answered. That's next.
Today, I've got the fastest fixes to get our health back on track. And you know what? No lines, no waiting rooms, and no being put on hold. Just the answers you need right now to your biggest health questions of all time. Now, my digital team, along with a panel of experts, have been collecting your biggest and most popular online health questions. They can help me out. We're going to be joined by CBS News medical contributor, Dr. Holly Phillips, Chief Wellness Officer of the Cleveland Clinic, and my best friend, Dr. Michael Roizen, anti-aging expert and dermatologist, Dr. Ellen Wormer, and fitness trainer and transformation expert, Chris Powell. Chris, we're going to start with you. What is the top question you're seeing on your computer?
Well, here's one straight out of the New York Times. Says, what is the best time of day to exercise for weight loss?
And is there an answer for that?
Well, this is one I get all the time. And absolutely. In our experience, we've certainly found that in the morning before breakfast is the best time to exercise for weight loss.
So, Mike, what's the medical reason? It does seem a little counterintuitive to ask folks to exert themselves, put out energy, but not have eaten anything.
Well, the research is compelling. If you exercise first in the morning, you lose your own fat rather than having to work through the calories you already ate.
Chris, just a little demonstration. Let's show everybody why this is so. And I think this is something that might resonate to a lot of folks. So we've got two pans here, right? Chris is the empty pan. I'll take the full pan. And the full pan actually has a little bit of food that you put in your stomach. Let's say a piece of bread before you worked out. We're both going to see if we can burn the fat on our bodies. That's one of the reasons so many of us work out. So you go ahead and put yours on there. I'll put mine on there. And what do we find? Not surprisingly, the first thing in Chris's body is he starts burning through the fat stores. He needs the energy, so he gets it from where he's got it stored, which is his thighs, his hips, wherever you may have yours. On the other hand, I'm still trying to get through my bread. So I'm working out, and after half an hour, he's really into his fat stores, and I'm barely touching mine. My butter is still unmelted, sitting on top here. And this is one of the biggest challenges I think a lot of folks have. When they've taken so many calories, they never get to their fat stores. What about folks who've binged the night before? They ate the wrong things, they shouldn't have done it. Does it make a difference to exercise the next morning?
Well, as far as binging the night before, hey, with those calories, they've been eaten, they've already been partitioned into body fat. But if they're gonna slip up later on in the day, if you exercise earlier in the morning, it almost gives you a little bit of an insurance buffer for if you do slip up and you eat a few extra calories later on in the day, guess what? It's not gonna turn into body fat. It's actually gonna go right back into repairing your body and getting it ready for more exercise.
I love having experts answer it right. So quickly, exercise in the morning before you have any breakfast, and you'll be happy. Maybe even look like this. All right, up next, we're gonna find out what's buzzing on all these computers. My panels, they're all sitting there happily looking through your web questions. They can be answering everything from your fridge to your face. Stay here.
Next, can you eat moldy bread? Should you shower with hot or cold water? Can you catch up on lost sleep? We've got answers to your most pressing health questions trending on the internet.
Your mood improves and even your blood pressure can improve in just a few weeks.
Coming up.
Why can your friend eat junk food and not gain weight, but you eat a jelly bean and gain a pound? Your gut may be to blame.
Everyone has one of 5 gut types.
See which one you are so you can lose weight. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
Biggest health questions, and from your face to your fridge, we're going to get to as many as we can. We're going to start off in the fridge with Dr. Phillips. What's catching your attention on food safety?
Well, right here on the New York Times, I'm seeing one of the most popular questions on their health hotline is it safe to refreeze thawed foods? And so basically the idea that it's completely dangerous to refreeze foods once they've been thawed is a myth. Now, according to the USDA, most foods, including meat, poultry, fish, vegetables, and fruits, can actually be refrozen, assuming you've done 2 things. Number 1, that you've thawed them safely in the first place, and number 2, that they're not already spoiled.
How do you thaw them safely?
Well, you know what, there really is a trick to it. The safest way to thaw foods is to take them from the freezer and put them in your fridge and then wait. When we run into trouble is when we try and make the process faster, right? By thawing things out in the microwave or by putting it on our countertop and hoping it'll go faster. Bacteria love warm environments. That's when they start to multiply and we raise our risk of infection. So a general rule of thumb is if you think the food has gotten over 40 degrees Fahrenheit or even roughly approached room temperature, make sure you cook it before you freeze it.
All right, Dr. Royce, what are you seeing in food safety?
Well, this is on droz.com. Is it safe to eat bread with mold? The answer is no.
There's a lot of mold. Yeah, I wouldn't eat that either. That was hard.
Well, the reason is because it's got thread-like projections and it gets throughout the bread. If you bite into it or cut into it, you can spread the mold, you breathe it in, and you can get mold growing in your lungs.
Ooh.
Or in your intestine or other places, or you can get an allergic reaction to it. So no, don't eat the moldy bread.
Let's do a little experiment. Obviously, you're not going to eat the bread we just showed, but a lot of times you'll see a little bit of mold, like there. See that tiny bit right there?
So you think you can cut it out, right? Just cut this out like that?
Yeah, I would think that.
And what happens? It's metastasized to all kinds of places, and you don't get it. So you're still eating it or cutting it and getting at risk of those spores.
Yeah. Well, see, this one's not too bad, but you don't know, do you?
Well, I wouldn't cut another piece off because you'll show color then again. See, right here?
Yes.
It grew again.
All right. So the upshot is soft stuff like bread you can. What about cheese, which has mold on it anyway?
Cheese is hard. So the rule is if it's hard, you can cut it off, but if it's soft, don't.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. Next, let's go to the face. Since Ellen's a world expert in all things related to skin and face, what are you seeing trending right now?
On sharecare.com, they say, how do you know if you're over washing your face? And it's true, there's this fashion trend now of double washing, triple washing, quadruple washing your face all at once with different cleansers. Unless you have problematic skin and your doctor told you to do that, you really don't need to be doing that. The reason is because your skin is created like a brick wall, and each of those cells is surrounded by these essential oils called lipids, and those protect your skin. So if you overwash your face, you're stripping away those wonderful oils, and you're making your skin very sensitive. Sensitive to the chemicals in your makeup, or the chemicals in your moisturizer, or really just the pollutants throughout the day.
Do you even have to wash it once a day?
I'll tell you the truth, most people don't even have to wash their skin at all. If you exercise and you rinse off in the shower, that is enough. If you feel a lot of oil on your face, you might want to feel a little bit cleaner, but squeaky clean is not healthy. You need to have some liquids.
You feel better about that, Chris?
Yeah, I feel great about that. Thank goodness.
You have another skin question, I think, Dr. Marmer.
We do on popsugar.com. The big question is, which is better for you, hot versus cold showers? Especially now when the weather is cold. People love to sit in the shower, the hot shower, and they like to think, and they like the steam to open their pores and to cleanse their head. But what I find is my patients come in and they have this mystery rash on the middle of their back. They think they're dying. It's so itchy. What's happening to me? And it's because they're spending so much time in the hot shower with the water right on the middle of their back where they can't reach to put on their moisturizer. So if you're going to hypnotize yourself in the hot shower, just turn around a little bit. Let the water hit you in other areas and moisturize as soon as you get out of the shower. Now, cold showers are great, right? So at the end of that long hot shower, turn it on cold, brace yourself, let the cold water increase your adrenaline, engage your energy, and for the rest of the day, you're going to feel more energetic. It's going to close those pores, so your skin's going to look great, moisturize, and head out for your day.
Some people take cold showers to lose weight. The argument is that your muscles have to work hard to warm you up, you burn off energy. So who knows?
I'd rather exercise first thing in the morning.
I get asked the question a lot on Facebook. It's always about sleep. So can you catch up on lost sleep? Is one that really was trending this week. So I reached out to a member of my core team. He happens to be a sleep expert, Dr. Michael Bruce. Take a look.
You can probably sleep in an extra maybe 30 minutes or so on Saturday morning or on a Sunday morning and catch up on a little bit of sleep that you could have missed Friday or Saturday night. But anything longer than that will shift your circadian rhythm, which is that internal biological clock, and shift your whole clock, so that way you're not getting the right sleep when you are going to bed on time. So what I'm telling you now is, yeah, you can make up for your sleep, but you can't make up for all of it.
So Dr. Mike, explain why that's so. He spent a good part of our adult lives not sleeping when we're going through our training. So why are we limited to making up maybe a half an hour per day on the weekend?
Well, as you know, the time we slept least was when we were writing the U-books.
That's right.
You know, 3.5 to 4 hours a night is what I got to sleep. So I was short 3.5 to 4 hours. You multiply that by 5, and that's almost 20 hours. I'm not going to sleep 17.5 hours each weekend day to make it up. It just won't happen, right? And in addition, you worked me very hard on the weekends writing. So you just don't make it up.
So Holly, explain this to me. If you do fix your sleep, if you can keep on top of the hours we ask folks to do, how soon do you see the benefits?
Right. Well, once you start to fix your sleep, meaning you consistently sleep the right amount of hours every night, and you go to bed at the same time of night, and you wake up at the same time in the morning, you're going to feel better immediately. But even more important, you really set yourself up for health benefits right away. Your mood improves, your attention span improves, and even your blood pressure can improve in just a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
I like the trade-off.
It's really
Thank you all for being here. All the family were wonderful. When we come back, easy tips to quiet your mind and find balance, and it is free. It's next.
Next, think only extroverts have all the money, power, and fun? Learn how having the qualities of an introvert can lead to a more balanced life.
I always thought introverted people were shy people. Is that not true?
We'll show you the ways to harness the power of being quiet. Next.
We live in a busy world that's often loud and is full of distractions. In fact, if you open any newspaper, if you watch television, read any online blog or post, it seems like the people with the loudest voices seem to have the most power and success. My balance expert, Susan Cain, thinks there's actually power in being quiet. And today she reveals what might be most of our biggest problems and perhaps the best lesson for a lot of us searching for balance.
Susan Cain is behind a quiet revolution that's become a call to arms for introverts around the world. In her best-selling book, Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, Cain makes the case for nurturing people who thrive on less stimulation and more solitude. She also argues our extroverted society is actually overloading, overwhelming, and ultimately draining many of us.
We could all stand to unplug and get inside our own heads a little more often.
It's a message that's striking a chord. Cain's TED Talk on the unsung virtues of introversion went viral, viewed by nearly 13 million people and counting. And Cain believes you too can embrace your inner introvert to transform and find balance in your life.
Susan Cain is here now. A lot of you think the extroverts have all the fun, the money, and the power. But you actually challenge that assumption. You argue introverts, the ability to be quiet, has its own unique power.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the key for all humans is tapping into your access to the power that you have available to you. And there's so many introverts. You can look from Bill Gates to Gandhi to Rosa Parks to Emma Watson, who have made their contributions to the world because of their quiet temperaments. Not in spite of it, but because of them.
So I love this general concept, but I want to understand what these positive attributes are of introverts. Because I always thought of introverts as sort of sitting by themselves, not wanting to engage a lot.
Right.
Why does it bring us power?
Yeah, oh my gosh, so many. So for one thing, if you want to be creative, you have to be willing to withstand solitude. And so introverts have a real edge when it comes to creativity because they can take that time to sit and focus. But then there are also more surprising powers. When you look at leadership, there are all kinds of fascinating studies coming out showing that introverted leaders deliver better outcomes than extroverted leaders do often because they get to those leadership positions out of a true passion for what they're doing. They're not drawn to leadership per se, but they're there for passion, and people can feel that.
And how does the quiet that, in theory, an introvert could access more readily help them find balance in their life? Because that is the focus today.
Well, we are all right now living in a world that is so 24/7. So even for the extroverts among us, we all feel like it's too much, right? For introverts, it's a little easier for us to withstand all that and say, you know what, I am just going to go and take a break because I have to. And so we end up getting the balance that we need instead of running ourselves ragged.
So we did a little quiz, everybody, to help you figure out if you're an extrovert and an introvert. We asked our entire audience to take Susan's personality test, which is also on DrOz.com. So right after the show, please take the quiz yourself, see where you are.
24% of the audience here are extroverts. That's my group, by the way.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure about it because the questions are actually very insightful. 20% are introverts, and 56% are phrase ambiverts, which are sort of a mix of both. Let's do a little experiment.
Yeah.
Let me see the hands of all the extroverts. Come on back, Susan. Extroverts. Okay, perfect. So come on back, Susan.
Oh,
Join
yeah.
us. What's your name?
Melissa.
Melissa. So here's why I'm curious. You can come right here. You can sit next to me. Okay, join me on the steps.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if what you're saying is true, Susan. If people who are extroverts could find peace if they used introvert tactics. So describe your life to me.
Okay, well, I am a mother of 4. I have a 17-year-old about to go to college, a 12-year-old, she'll be 13 next month. I have 4-year-old twins. I am a teacher, and I'm also in school for my doctorate.
Is that all?
So how do you try to find balance in your life as busy as you are?
What is that? I don't know what balance is. I can't, because I feel like if I'm not doing something, I'm not doing enough. I have to do something else, you know?
And what would it mean for you with those wonderful kids running around in different directions for you to actually be able to find balance?
I think it would mean peace in my household. I think it would help my kids. They would have me more time with mom. It would help my husband. I know he would like to have more time with me. Just peace altogether.
So Susan, apply what you're just sharing with us to Melissa. How does she go from being the extrovert that she seems to be, put her hands up immediately, to learning to benefit from the quiet that an introvert would naturally resonate to?
Yeah, I think you might have a case of what psychologists call reputational confusion, which means that you probably have the reputation among your family, your colleagues, everybody you know, as this big extrovert who's out there all the time. And so that's what people expect of you. But if you start putting out the word, no, actually, I am a person who also really needs her alone time, and your partner starts to know that, your colleagues start to know that, and most of all, you start to know it, then you can start scheduling in the alone time you need.
I know that's a hard thing to do in practice. That's the challenge. That's why we want to have this blueprint for balance sing to people. So when we come back, Susan has a plan to break your addiction to busy, which is what you have and so do I, and discover the power of quiet.
Coming up next, Susan shares ways for you to create quiet time for yourself.
Most of us feel guilty about taking the time that we need for ourselves.
See how it can make you more creative and balanced. Ways to break your addiction to always being busy. Coming up next.
Why can your friend eat junk food and not gain weight, but you eat a jelly bean and gain a pound? Your gut may be to blame.
Everyone has one of 5 gut types.
See which one you are so you can lose weight. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
We're back with Susan Cain, self-proclaimed introvert and leader of the Quiet Revolution. So how has being an introvert made your life more balanced?
Well, for me, it's really easy to get the quiet time that I need. So I love reading, I love books, I love writing, and so I just go naturally into that quiet zone.
God, I wish I could do that. So it's, for all the extroverts, the ambiverts, the people who are not already introverts, and therefore often are being pulled in a million different directions. How do we become a little bit more of an introvert? How do we use that power? And you're going to share some tips with us. That's a big question a lot of us have. So the first one that you pointed out to me earlier was that you need to feel a little entitled, which I would not have associated with being an introvert.
You do, and this is for introverts as well as extroverts. Most of us, on some level, feel guilty about taking the time that we need for ourselves. We feel it especially at work, let's say. I hear this from people all the time. They say, I would love to go and take a walk by myself every afternoon, but I feel guilty about it, and I feel like people will look badly at me if I take that time away, even though they know full well that when they come back from that 10 minutes or 20 minutes, they'll be more present to everyone around them, and their thinking will be sharper. But you have to feel entitled to actually do it.
All right, step 2, she says to date herself or yourself.
Yeah.
You got to schedule a date with yourself, which sounds a little bit crazy, but think about this. How many of you would go out to have a meal by yourselves? Those are all the introverts. All right. The third step, and this is an important one, is to identify your creative goals.
Yeah, so whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, figure out, really right now as you're listening to this, sit and figure out what is that creative project you had always wanted to do, and elevate that to top priority, along with your work, along with your family.
The last tip is one that I think requires a little bit of explanation. You want us to find our flow. And I guess people sort of know it when they're there, but how do they find it if they don't know where it is?
Yeah, so flow is one of the great states of being. It is the state where you are involved in a project. It could be work or it could be something fun. Like I get flow from playing tennis. And so it's a project where you feel totally engaged, you're not bored, and you're not anxious. You're just in it and you're not thinking about anything else. And so you just, as you walk around the world, you want to start paying attention to where do you feel that way.
Yeah. If you do it, you've got balance in your life. Susan, thank you for the tips. Congratulations with all the success.
Thank you so
The
much.
Blueprint for Balance scorecard, where you can try all these new behaviors and track your progress, is on droz.com. There it is. It's really easy to use. Share it with your friends. We'll be right back. I'm sounding the alarm on the dangerous teen trends.
Montel Williams sounds off on kids downing a lethal cocktail of racing fuel and soda.
This is what's killing our children.
What was it like saying goodbye to your boy?
I have a hole right here.
That's coming up on Tuesday.
So earlier in the show, we answered America's biggest health question. So now it's time for the number one health question that you have searched on Google. We actually reached out to the folks there, and this is what they said you want to know. Is pneumonia contagious? Why do folks ask that question? What do you think? Contagious or not?
Yes.
Sort of. Like half contagious.
Like, yeah. I think yes.
But you're not sure.
Not really sure, but I think it might be. Yeah.
It might be. I'm getting, oh, come on now. That's why you're searching it. You don't know. So let's talk a little bit about pneumonia. It has a very interesting history that you may not know. Pneumonia was always called an old man's best friend. Think about that. An old man's best friend. And why was that? Because it would leave you, when it was untreated, into this very sleepy state. You'd lapse into an area where you're sort of in a coma, and then you'd peacefully pass away in your sleep, which is not a bad way to go. And it would happen usually in older folks. It give you a very dignified and calm ending to your life after oftentimes a lot of suffering. So pneumonia is an infection. It really is. It's an infection that's caused by viruses and by bacteria. And there are many different kinds of pneumonia. You have bacterial pneumonias, you have viral pneumonias, walking pneumonias. Have you heard of walking pneumonias? Right? That's just when it's not that bad. It means your symptoms are less severe, so you're well enough to walk around. Then there's double pneumonia when both your lungs are affected. But let me show you what's actually happening inside of you. So let's go inside of your chest where the lungs are. Inside the lungs, there are these small little pockets, little bubbles. They're called alveoli, right? There they are. And when these alveoli begin to swell up, they're sort of like a sponge. They get moist, and guess what happens? Bacteria love that. They begin to grow and prosper, forming pus, and all that fluid builds up, and you cough. When you cough at 100 miles an hour, literally, material goes into your friend's nose because they're breathing, and it goes into their throat, and that's how they get your pneumonia. That's what contagious means. And you can't get out of the way because it's coming at you so quickly. That's how these viruses and bacteria, even fungi, can pass from person to person. So here's what you can do to protect yourself from catching pneumonia. Now that you know it's contagious, avoid contact with people who you think might have pneumonia, whatever the cause may be, and then wash your hands frequently. That's why we keep pushing at that, because if you sneeze on someone else and they catch it with their hands, it's in their fingers, they'll touch their eyes, their nose, it gets into there, and then they get pneumonia. Hope that's helpful. Thanks for joining us. And remember, happy and healthy starts at home.